Okay, folks, this is Fred Caney, Valley Bigfoot and Inside Virginia Scotch. We are live and we are in your house. Okay,
Woohoo!
we're gonna be shouting about the camp out we had this weekend. We had some very interesting things happen, and guess what? We never left the camp. Never. Oh, ain't that pretty?
Good
So
Daniel.
yeah. So anyway, I wanted to start with the girls, and I want them to tell y'all exactly the experiences they had. So I'm gonna start with Leo. So Leo, why don't you tell the folks out there what you heard and what scared you the most?
Okay, I assume you want the short version, right?
Either or, it don't make a difference.
Um, I heard chattering, um, tree knocks, um, who that was not an owl about 3 times. I heard did I say whoop already?
Yeah.
Um, what else did I hear? We heard the that squeal or scream or whatever happened like what Friday night.
Oh, you talking
We
about the
were
bait?
all around the campfire, but no, we all heard it a little bit different.
Oh, you talking about the
I
bait?
heard, yeah, I heard whoop, tree knocks, who, who. I heard chatters. I heard a lot,
What did
and
you
I was
hear?
scared.
Yeah, what did you hear Sunday? I mean Saturday night, and about
Saturday night.
and about what?
Saturday.
About
Go
around
ahead.
what time? And about around what time do you think?
Saturday night, I heard the tree knocks. Sometime I don't know 2 to 4 maybe. Um, I heard a lot of chattering, and I heard in the camp, and it made I can't say that it was Sasquatch related, but I heard a can pop, and it sounded like it was right in the camp, like if you I was telling Beth, like if you dent a drink can and then kind of work it and it pop back out. It had that tin sound, and it was pretty loud.
Well, Daniel, when I went up the road, I thought Daniel was smacking his hands. What he was doing, he was popping the top of his snuff can. And it was
Yeah,
Yeah, I was
loud.
doing it. Yeah, I was taking it
let me
just like
see.
this here, taking the flat end, because this here is plastic. These ones here are plastic, and all I'm doing is plucking it right here. But of course, outside it sounds louder though.
If it was metal, that
Yeah,
very well could have been it. But you weren't in
yeah,
air camp. We don't. Everybody's going to bed, and
right.
it
And like I
won't that
said, this is a
hard.
plastic. Yeah, this is plastic
Yeah.
right here too. So
See, I've heard that the Sasquatch make those popping sounds with their mouth. Also, a lot of researchers have stated stuff like that. So that's kind of
I heard. I heard. It sounded like a drink can or something pop.
hmm.
If you were like to say dent it and pop it back out.
Right. Hmm.
Um, I heard a lot. I heard chattering. I heard chattering all night after we went to bed. Um, Saturday night, and I heard it Friday night too. But um, Friday night was the night we had heard. If you remember, Daniel, when we were all at the campfire, I think it was across the road we heard, which was just a plain who,
Yeah.
and that
Um.
was it. It didn't sound like an owl,
Right.
but
Well.
I heard that same who. In fact, that's too much owl in it. It was just who.
Now There was a
That's
couple
too
different
much out.
times.
Anyway, I heard it twice again early in the morning, Saturday morning before daylight. And it sounded
Oh,
like it was across the creek.
There's
that's
a lot of
awesome.
different owls too, but you can tell the difference between them.
And this was just like, if y'all remember, Barb Shoup said there was a squatch outside her house one night,
I'm
and
so,
he just said, who? And it was kind of like that. It was like he wasn't even trying to disguise it, or it was who, and that's what kind of what we heard, and I heard it twice in the wee hours of the morning
yeah,
because I didn't
so,
sleep.
yeah, I'm sorry, man, but I was watching, listening to Leo, and all of a sudden it just shot me right off the air. So I had
Yeah,
to pop back.
sometimes it does that. Yeah, it does
Yeah,
that to me sometimes.
yeah. Oh, okay, that's cool. Now, Beth. Oh,
Beth,
Beth.
Yeah, I
Okay,
can
now,
hear.
unmute
Can you hear
yourself.
me?
okay, okay,
Okay.
I was muted.
okay. Now,
Okay.
I want to hear your side of what you heard and experienced that night, Friday and Saturday night.
Okay. Well, I have to preface this with that I'm about half deaf to start with, so I couldn't hear quite everything. But I do know. Was it Friday night that across the road that we heard? Well, I described it as a whine,
That's
but I
Beth.
think Will described it as in
Yeah,
another way.
that's my
What
cousin.
maybe a
I think
whimper? Was that it? Or was it when
I
we
think
were talking about
I
maybe a
think that's
baby
what they
saying,
were describing as sounded like the baby. I
Yeah,
think
okay,
that was the
because
same
I
sound
heard
because we all
across the
described it a
road.
little different, but it was all kind of describing the same type of sound.
yeah,
At the same time, so we all heard it. And then, sitting in the camp facing the road, off to the left across the creek, twice I heard two, I would say, yeps, yep, but it wasn't like a dog yelp. I mean, it was kind of more, it was deeper, and it wasn't a yelp, it was more like a sound, somebody saying yep or something.
yeah.
But it had so I heard that twice, a few minutes apart each. Um, and I didn't notice the chatter Friday night until Saturday night when we were sitting around. And I noticed that there was such a big difference in the ambient sounds of the forest. It was a lot quieter when we were sitting around Saturday night around the fire.
Uh-huh.
And then we went to bed, close to 11:30 or 12.
It kicked
Yeah,
up after we went to bed Saturday night.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Tell them, what kind of experience we had when me and you went back there in the field. What was happening to us when we was back there?
The well, uh, Fred could hear it better. It was like, I know that when we were going towards the creek, when we were walking far on back, um, there was like one time I thought I'd heard like a pop, like a small limb popping, like you step on it, not like crunches of leaves. And so a few more minutes later, just I heard it again. And I told Fred that I'd heard it. And he had said that he thought we had someone, or maybe a couple following us
Yeah,
parallel to us.
yeah,
And then, yeah,
Go ahead,
oh,
Beth.
okay, okay, I'm
yeah,
sorry. And then we got back to the little stream where we found the footprints. Now, and that was neat because it was obvious what they were. I mean, you could see the toes, everything. It was, and good and well, it was not any human or big-footed nephew out there in the middle of the night stomping through the forest barefooted. So that was cool. And of course, he showed me a lot of the structures, and it was really neat to see how they bend those saplings over and stick them in the ground, or move a large, or move a dead tree to prop them, to hold them down. So, and it's not natural or nature, because if it was, I just feel like if it was nature, it would be, more even. You would see it on both sides of the trail more so than what we saw. So, how about that? Oh, and I wanted to say about Lale hearing that metal pop or that can pop. When we were cleaning up the next day, Sunday, to come home, there was a beer can that was behind the tent. So I don't know if one had gotten kicked or thrown, or maybe somebody, I don't know. But anyway, I
I
just wanted to
forgot
say
that part.
Yeah. Well,
no, that's good.
yeah, when me and my brother was getting ready to wrap the tarp up. Now, when I put put the plastic down, set the tents up, and put the tarp over, used the heavy rocks to put around the tent or the tents. Well, when we went to um, Saturday night, they kept saying that they're hearing raindrops. Well, hard as that wind was blowing, them trees shouldn't have had anything on them. But I found rocks, small rocks probably about that big around, broke, and was all around on the back corner of that tent. So I'm thinking what y'all heard was rocks being thrown because I heard 3 steps coming across that creek. I heard splash, 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 like something's walking across from there. And
And that was
right,
that was that was at 3:35. I remember checking the time when you went out of the tent.
right,
So that was at
yeah,
3:35 when you said that.
yeah. So they was around us the whole time, but apparently they had just decided to start coming in, because they was around us early Friday, but and Saturday, they probably
They-
started somewhere else and worked their way in toward us. Man, it's pretty good. Now Daniel
It was
said,
late. Go ahead.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
now Daniel said he saw a set of eyes about 5 foot high across the road up there behind his camp. So I'm thinking it was one of the younger adult juveniles and everything. But
And that was Friday. That was Friday night, right? He saw the set
uh,
of eyes.
yeah, because I mean, they was all around us Friday, and Saturday it was basically they
Oh, I didn't know I was muted. I muted myself by accident. I was trying to
uh,
talk. I didn't realize I was muted.
but yeah
I do that.
but they had started looking for food somewhere else, and probably about 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever time after 12, they finally worked their way to our camp and everything. But Daniel said he saw a set of eyeballs across the road
Yeah,
Friday night.
those set of eyes to give a description, especially for the viewers. I don't know how well I described it to the rest of you guys. I told Fred what I saw. I mean, I know I shared with all you guys that I saw a set of eyes, but as far as the color of them, let me say this one. For one thing, they were pretty large looking, even at a distance. They were large. Um, hold on. All right, I'm gonna mute Ryan real quick because I can't. There we go. Now I can hear myself. um, yeah, when I was walking to my camp, or I forget. I walked out to the road for something, and you guys know the headlamp I use. It's a 6,000 lumens. It's really bright, and it reaches a long ways. Well, it was far enough. It picked up strong enough to where it picked up the eye shine that was dead center in the middle of the road. And keep in mind, it was about a good 5 feet high as far as level wise. And when I spotted the eye shine, I kind of got excited because I was like, "That's not deer and that's not a bear." Because most bear, let's say all bear that I have seen at night, it's been red, and deer are more like a marble bluish tint color. This was like a amberish, like a yellowish amberish with a slight looking green tint to it, and I got excited. I started approaching the area. At one point, I thought it disappeared because, like I said, it was in the middle of the road. And as I was approaching it, I stopped because that's when I thought it disappeared. It went on. But nah, I saw him again. The second time, it was to the left. Like if I'm facing it, it was looking on the left. Apparently, it walked a little bit and stopped again to look back. And I started to approach it again. I was like, man, that's awesome. So I don't know, whatever it was, I didn't hear it go off into the woods because I was still a little distant from it, but it was pretty awesome. I had to hurry up and get back to tell you guys what I saw, and I wasn't trying to scare nobody. I mean, but I had to share that with you guys what I saw. I know Leia was a little scared and everything, but if I see something, I got to share it. um, but yeah,
Well, I
apart from
wanted you
that,
to.
oh yeah, absolutely. I mean,
I wanted to know,
right,
as scared as it made me, I wanted
yeah,
to know. I was there,
right,
you
yeah.
know. So,
It was exciting too. I wish we all could have saw what I saw. I mean, but that's the first time. I mean, I have seen eye shine in Fred's area before, but I've actually seen bears. But that's the first time I've seen that in his area. I had picked up on something on video that has eyes actually up behind the camp. Fred, do you remember that one video I had? I think it was research in the rain that I posted from your area. There's one, if you go far enough behind the camp on the lower trail, there's something I was looking at up on the ridge, and it appeared to have eyes. I don't know. It was really solid dark, and it had a set of eyes. It was I think there was two parts to that video, part one and part two. But it's one of my videos. Like I said, research in the rain. Uh, yeah, something like that. But yeah, there was some pretty cool stuff.
I'm hearing bit. I mean, everybody's lagging on here. Bits and pieces. Then you're freezing up. Then I can hear you again. Then like anybody, like Ryan's the only one that ain't never froze up yet. I mean, Beth froze up, and like when they're talking and chattering. So I'm hearing bits and pieces of what y'all were saying, not the whole thing.
Yeah, usually I don't know. Usually when I play back, I hear myself pretty good. It
Yeah.
sounds fine when I play it back.
Yeah, but while I'm sitting there listening to y'all, I mean, y'all like when you was talking, you said something about the lower trail and eyeballs, and that's all I could hear. Then it was just skipping all through that, so I really couldn't hear the whole thing of everything.
How
Right.
about me? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I mean,
Okay. Well, okay, because
All right.
I try to stay muted, but I heard Daniel fine. He came across clear on mine. So,
All the way through.
Yeah,
Was it
it
all the
must.
way through? I
Did
mean,
you
you
hear it?
heard
fine
you
with
heard
me.
everything I
I
said.
can hear. I did.
I did.
I could. It was
Yeah,
clear.
because usually when I play myself back on, like I'll check. I do it on my own podcast, and
I
because
heard
I'm always
I
one.
heard everything you said too.
Okay, then it's got to be on Fred's end.
That's what I was
Forever.
going to. That's what I was going to say.
Ah, Fred, you're the lagger.
Yeah, yeah. You got any questions,
Guilty as
Ryan?
charged.
Unmute him.
Well,
I
he can
didn't hear.
unmute himself.
Yeah,
Oh, there you
Is that
go.
better?
yeah. You got any
Yeah.
questions?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to ask him. What was the height of those eyes? Do you think?
About approximately 5 feet. It could have been 6 feet, but it was eye level with me. But I have to consider the distance a little bit. It may have looked about my height. I'm estimating at least 5 feet though. I'm 6 foot, so I mean my estimation on given the distance and everything,
Mhm.
and the distance was probably I'm guessing 50 to 75 yards. Well 70 at least 75 yards because that to me that's a good distance. And like I said, as far as height, yeah, about a good 5 feet.
Did you
Yeah.
like go check over there during the day or anything, or no?
No, I don't recall actually walking up that way. Me and Fred actually walked up that way. Or was that No, we walked up that way Saturday, I think, and looked around.
Right. Yeah.
Um, I can't really recall seeing anything in that particular area. Hmm,
Yeah.
no.
That area where he said he saw the eyeballs last year when we camped up there. Um, I had his parabolic dish, and I was hearing. I could hear him walking around. I could hear him snapping twigs. I could hear him talking. I could hear him whooping. So,
Cool.
yeah, and then when you go over in there, you go, you're on private property, once after you go in so far, and I went on back there, and this is the time around when the blueberries are ripe, and they're is plentiful. So they go across the road, and because I found bedding areas over there, day beds and stuff over in that area, and they go over in there. So they cross right behind where his camp is. But what I tell people, when I go out there, everything you're hearing is what I hear every time I go out. You know, some days I
Right.
don't hear, some days I don't, but 90% of the time I hear, I'm hearing these whoops, I'm hearing this, I'm hearing that. And I keep telling people, you really don't have to leave the camp. That's the best thing I like about it. Especially especially when people are scared to leave the camp, scared to walk down the road.
Isn't it terrible when people come and camp with you and then they just scared and they won't go anywhere or do anything? I hate that.
Yeah. But you
At
did,
least they want it.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I tell you what,
Yes.
you
We
know,
went
yeah,
and we stayed.
I took Beth over in the field next to the camp, which is the field that I had that female squatch run across with us in '86. And I got a Beth. I took that picture and I blew it up and made a photograph out of it. You could see the toes and the whole foot perfect.
Yes, good.
That was the one right there next to that patch where we seen the right foot, the left foot, then the right foot again. That's the
Yes.
that's the one I
Yeah.
took. Plus the tracks we found on the trail going up in there turned out perfect. I mean you could see all five toes, you could see the contour, the foot, and everything.
Yes, you could. You could.
He,
You could see the heel, the toes, the whole 9 yards.
yeah,
I hope
Yeah.
this
If
images.
yeah, if you guys told me about that, shoot, if it was good enough to cast, I would have. I had plaster. I would have casted that. 'Cause I went back and casted that
Yeah,
one track, one of those tracks I showed you, Fred, in the
yeah.
pictures I had.
Well,
they
this,
were really wet.
yeah.
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 Oh,
Well,
okay.
the first track that we're talking about was in that area right there. You know how you go in the field, and you got that round patch right there when you're walking in. You go
Yeah.
in, you got that long little thin. Where me and you, I say there was some over in that little patch, which is like a little fence row type area.
Right.
Then right on the other side, you got that round spot, the little round wooded area.
Okay.
Back there where you got all them juvie tracks last year.
Yeah, over by where there's a fire pit. Somebody has a fire
No,
pit
no,
over there.
no, not
Yes.
that far. No,
Yes.
no,
Up
not
there.
no, no, not that far.
Oh, but she's saying yes, it is.
Well,
No, sh
It
right
may
uh,
be a
before
different
we got
fire
to
pit.
that,
well, no,
it's
where me and her went in at,
the
I thought we took a right and followed the wood line up, and
Okay.
then we went through the brush, and then it's right there at that round spot. It had a lot of green fungus there,
Huh.
right there at the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, back there
Okay.
where you got all them footprints at. Those print,
Okay.
those prints were probably uh soft as they were. They probably the night before.
Yeah, because back when I got those casts out of there, they came down closer to that fire pit is over to the right before you get to the back.
Okay, we was about 20 yards before you get to that spot where you got them tracks.
Oh, okay, okay.
It was right there. Do you see where they had come out? The way the trail looked, they had come out of the area right next to the camp and come straight across the field, went in there and just shot right up in the woods there, going up in
Uh,
that on that ridge there.
They were good
oh,
looking
and
footprints.
man, I wish you guys told me about it. I would have came over there, brought my plaster and brought my water and stuff over there. And we
I
could have
tell, I tell
could
you
have got a
what,
couple.
yeah, I tell you what. Let me go out here and get the photograph, and I'll bring it right back. I got it out in the van.
I
It's
do
ready
Who
for
that.
me.
gets
All
who
right.
gets to take over, me or Daniel?
It doesn't.
Well, Leo, you do it.
It probably
You do
don't
it.
matter.
You do it this time, Leo. You do it this time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Hey, can I make a real quick announcement on this?
Sure.
On the lot
Go
on
ahead,
the lot
Daniel.
on the live chat, you know how we were talking about Fred kept trying to say we were lagging? Well, you said you heard me well,
I heard you
and
well.
Beth, yeah, and Beth said so. Yeah. Well, on the live chat, Johnny Bigfoot says I can hear everyone. He says it's Freddy's computer or internet. So
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Right here's
Darn.
yeah.
right
I
here's
didn't get
footprint.
to host the show.
Okay. Here's the
Fred,
foot.
it's you lagging. Oh,
Here,
yeah, that's
that's the footprint.
Okay.
You see it?
Beth got them too. Beth can post them maybe later on.
See right
Okay.
there?
That picture there.
Yeah.
All right.
They're on the video
I mean,
also.
Hey. Okay. Yeah, I do recall seeing that in the video. I didn't know you actually had photos of them too.
yeah. Just, I took a photograph of it. This right here is the this is the right foot.
All right. Do you have those pictures posted? I could do a screen share if it lets me.
Yeah.
'Cause
I got them. I got all of them posted.
You can post
Oh,
mine. Those that I sent you. You can post them on your page if you want.
Did you get that,
actually,
like, is that like laminated or something?
I went to
I
Rite
think
Aid.
it's
I went to Rite Aid, and they got a machine there that you can make photographs with, and and
Oh,
yeah, so that's a photo.
so
This is
so it's
Kodak
on
paper.
photograph paper.
Yeah, it's on
Yeah.
photograph paper. I didn't copy it off a sheet. I just took it. I pulled it straight off the SD card and everything.
Man, Ryan, you should have come, man. It
yeah.
was exciting.
It was so close, and I just, being a new
Well,
joinee here, and I didn't really know about it until the last like 2 weeks. But if I was able to, I probably would have.
well,
yeah,
next time I will go again, but we got to seriously rework our sleeping and potty um, and our carrying of items and packing and because it was just too much for us two 50-year-old women.
Well, the next
But
camp.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was a good time. It
yeah,
was a good time.
yeah. Well, if that guy
And I
wouldn't
want
have,
to thank you guys for it.
yeah, if that
I said
guy
I want to
wasn't.
thank you guys for helping.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Anytime. If that guy wouldn't have been in that spot, that's where we would have camped at.
yeah.
Oh, okay. We
Because where he was
closer to the car.
our camp spot. That's where we usually camp at.
And that was disappointing because if I know he wasn't going to be there, and because I think it was Saturday, sometime Saturday before I laid down to take a nap.
Yeah, he
Uh,
showed up.
yeah, I showed up and to take all his stuff out. I was like, man, I wish he would have had. Yeah, because that would have been awesome to be right there. I think we could have fit our tarps together a little bit differently.
Yeah,
More like a kind of like a oval, like almost like a half horseshoe type shape. So.
Yeah.
Well, so yeah, because that
And
tarp
maybe
that
we
Fred
could have got
has, that
some
thing's big
warmth.
enough to cover probably. That's probably almost big enough to cover part of the house
It's
here.
it's a big darn tarp.
well,
Yeah, it is.
it's big enough to cover 3.5 tents. Three big tents, and well, actually, yeah, three big tents and a pup tent.
Well,
Because
Fred,
I
it's
had,
the first
because I
chance
had
I
a.
get, I'm gonna give you one.
All right, I'm gonna get a bigger one though. You go to Harbor Freight and buy one 3 times that size.
Are
Oh
you
yeah,
serious?
you can get a 100 footer.
Yeah,
Man, I don't know what I would do
Wow.
with
Hey,
it.
y'all.
yeah, Beth.
Yeah.
Fred, Daniel, I got a question.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to interrupt, but what you were talking about the blueberries a little bit ago, about
Yeah,
across the road, how they go across the road to get the blueberries. And
yeah.
where I grew up, the wild berries, in the beginning of the summer, they start to rot on the vine, and the birds will eat them, and they get drunk, and they'll fly into cars and fly into the windows and everything else. And I was wondering, did y'all maybe see any more erratic behavior
No,
from
not I'm
Bigfoot during the beginning of the summer?
That's a
uh
good question, though, isn't it?
I've heard that
yeah
it happens.
yeah
They had a show
in
on that.
And see,
in my
there's
area, in my
go ahead.
area, um I made a video back this past summer, and if you watch the video, you'll see me stuffing my face with blueberries. Now, that's why my area is hot at a certain particular time of year across the road and up behind the camp because they're coming in and they're snagging the blueberries. You can go up on Bald Mountain and you can pick blueberries from the bottom all the way to the top on the main trail going up. But I didn't realize how many blueberries we had. But yeah, I've seen doves do weird stuff. Most blueberries, mountain blueberries don't get as big as like you grow them on the farm. These are natural wild blueberries.
I talked to a lot of people down that way, and a lot of the old moonshiners that are back up in them hollers there uh, say things like they've had the old fermented corn and mash, whatever, and it was
Mm-hmm.
stolen or taken. And like
By
they,
Bigfoot.
yeah, they even did a show on that after I had found out about that they might have
Yeah,
liked the taste or the alcohol
And
or
mountain monsters. Mountain
yeah,
monsters had a
yeah,
thing. Now,
yeah. A lot of
whether that was all true or whatnot, but mountain monsters had a thing, and it would make sense. Why in the heck wouldn't they want to catch a buzz?
yeah.
I
Now
mean, I
I'll
don't
tell
know, but
I agree. 100%.
yeah. Now I'll tell you
yeah.
around I'll tell you around the middle of July when the berries are starting to and you're back there seeing a lot of off the wall stuff from the wildlife. Stagger once do it. I see crows on some trees. It's pretty freaking wild. You know.
That may very well be what it is. See now, our berries would start to rot on the vine 2 months probably earlier than yours would, because and Beth, especially where she's from,
Yeah.
we're way more east, and it's a lot hotter, and so things.
Yeah, but you're
Yeah,
more
but
humid down your way.
oh
Yes, we
God,
are. It
but
is super humid.
spring comes. Well, and we've talked about this and other things about springtime at the bottom of the mountain, in the middle of the mountain, and as the temperatures rise. But we're right on the coast, and so our stuff, wild blueberries and all of that, would be earlier in the year, you know. And if she's,
Yeah,
but it makes
they'll ripen
sense.
and rot like
Drunk
June or
birds
July.
and
Squirrels and everything else getting drunk and running out in the road.
Yeah,
oh
but see,
God,
And a
yeah,
few of the rednecks too.
yeah, but
yeah.
but mostly, the blueberries, are there from. They'll be ripe and ready to eat by about middle of May or toward the end of May, and it'll last about a month because you have birds, you have Bigfoot, you have bears, you got every critter in the woods gnawing on them because it's a food source for them, and they love to eat them. And when I make videos up in there, you see me stuffing my face with blueberries, even in some of the thickest places
That
I can
might
go.
that might be a good place to put a trail cam.
I've tried it, don't work.
Okay.
You know, you
That's
you
go
know
ahead.
the closest I can get them to coming around is when I use the audio recorder because they don't figure out they can pick that recorder up and look at it and sniff it and put it down and they won't get a picture of them. They know that for some reason. But when I put my camcorder there or a game camera, they won't go near it. They go around it, but they won't go near it. But
That's
with an audio recorder,
That
they
may,
would. Huh? Do what, Beth?
I was gonna say that makes sense to me. They because y'all were okay. Am I am I okay? Can y'all hear me good?
Yeah, I can hear
Yeah.
you.
Because I was gonna say, um, you were telling me before about how you get burnt or zapped, and it was the ultra low frequencies, and I really
Yeah.
believe that cameras, even if you have, I believe they emit a low frequency that animals can hear. Because I used to have a dog, and hey, I swear, every time I tried to take a picture, he would just about attack me. It was awful. He hated
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Well,
So
that
I
trail.
I,
think there's some
Yeah,
sort of frequency they can hear.
yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I got a video I made walking that trail one day, and they were. I call it. It's zapping, but I call it burning my head. It hurt my head so bad on my right left hand side of my head that it had tears coming out of my eyes. I had to stop and back out of the area. The further I walked back away from the area, the less my head hurt. Now that told me that I was near that clan, and I was getting a little too close for their comfort. But I don't know if they was on the left of me. I don't know if they was on the right of me. But I do know I was getting too close. And I've had them parallel me on the left side of me going back toward the camp, one day, and I decided to go up and go around to the front of the ridge. And I got halfway up that trail, and I heard three big cracks, which is about 30 foot away. Then you could hear them. It sounded like I heard the elephants. They all started running. They went down the front side and then turned and went up the ridge. You know, so but that is a particularly hot area. Areas get right to the time the berries disappear.
It is.
It's the main food source for all of them. I mean, that
I,
whole mountain ain't nothing but blueberries.
I can tell
It
you,
is a hot area. Go ahead,
she,
Brian.
she was asking about trail cams, and we recently had some things we've been
Say what?
finding over the last about 4 months now. Um, we have
Now,
traps
what
that
was you
we
saying,
have
Ryan?
built. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. I hear
Okay.
you loud
I
and clear.
do.
We
I mean,
have
I can.
Is Ryan cutting out for you, Fred?
I can't hear what he's saying. I hear at the starting of it, then it's just nothing.
All right,
Well,
Fred.
I think
it's you,
it's
Fred.
Yeah,
Sorry, but
you
it's
got to
you.
Yeah,
check your
'cause you're starting to cut
connections.
out with me.
Okay, I'll tell you
You're
what.
cutting out.
All right, I'll
Go
tell you
out and
what.
come back.
hop out and hop
Yeah.
in.
All right.
Well, also check your settings on the YouTube. Under here, go to the top where you would hang up. Go to the settings thing and check your audio under there. That might have something to do with it.
Sometimes if you stream in a high bandwidth or something too, you could change your bandwidth. Um,
Yeah.
but anyway, like I was
Hmm.
saying, back to Beth's point there, um, about trail cameras working and not working. We've caught what we believe is a photo in my area, um, and we're going to be having that checked out here in the next month or two. But over the past
Hmm.
4 months, we've built traps. It's kind of like we built wood boxes. They're about 30 inches deep, and what we did is we put chicken wire around them, and in the front of them we secured like the old shoe shine brushes. So whatever reaches in or is able to get in there in the small opening would leave like a hair sample. So we're taking the DNA, and what we want to do is we're sending it to a university in New York to have it tested, and that's what we've been doing. Um, but the weird thing that has been happening to us is we will have the trap set up with audio that we switch about every 2 to 3 days usually. It'll run for
Hmm.
about 72 hours straight, and we have to go through that, and then we'll have a trail cam with it. Well, we'll leave it. The first setup we left, it took us like almost a month, and the steak was still in there. And I said, you know what? Let's pull the cameras and the audio. Well, within like 4 days, that steak was gone. So I like kind
Oh
of,
man.
yeah. So I
Yep.
caught on. So I'm gonna explain something. Today we actually went out. We had set our traps about 20 days ago again, and we waited about 14 days. But I go out like every 3 days on one of them to leave the audio. The other one didn't have it, but they both had cameras. And same thing. They're up in the crotch of a tree. They're high. One is hanging. Um, and the weirdest thing is like nothing touches the meat. Like the meat is still there. So I said, you know what? Let's try this again. Let's pull the cameras and let's pull the audio. So today, which about 1 o'clock, we went back out there. We got to the creek bottom, and I told my buddy, I said, look at there looks. I recorded it. I said that looks like a footprint. It looked like it was in the gravel and a deep impression where you could see the toes. I haven't uploaded the video yet or anything. And then you go up the valley to where um, the trap was in a V-notch in a tree. And I told him, I said,
Uh-huh.
before we get up there, I said, you can see that looks like a footprint. Now, I said, I bet you 10 to 1 that stake is gone. And sure enough, we got up there. The tree was actually broken. You could see, I have in the video, it broke the tree in the V-notch, and the trap dropped down, fell to the ground in this big pit, and it obviously took the stake out of it. But the crazy part is, it happened after we took the cameras out. It's like
Yep.
it will not take it while the camera is there. We've hidden cameras, we've buried cameras, we've had them wireless in trees with batteries mounted in the ground. I mean, it's unreal. It's like the only way you get a trail cam photo is by mistake. Somehow they're able to tell, or whatever it is, we don't know, but this confirmed it. And both traps were empty today. I actually had to, when I got home, I went through and took out all the hair samples that I could find, and I had to bag and tag those and get those ready to get shipped out. But I made a video of that also. But it's really funny that, you leave them there 14 days and nothing, not even a bear, a coyote, if a bear gets the trap, he's going to demolish it. A coyote can't fit in it.
Yeah.
I mean, you got like maybe a mink or a muskrat or a skunk or a possum or a coon, something that'll eat steak, but it really can't get in the trap hole. I mean, my arm can barely fit in it. My arm can fit. It's almost like it has to be an arm that takes the steak. But we can't say that for sure. But either way, I was trying to point out the trail cam thing. Like Fred
Yeah.
said, sometimes you want to give up. I mean, we've even wrapped our cameras in certain types of tape, aluminum and copper taping to on the inside and everything to try to dumb down any external output from the camera. But it's almost like you got to be lucky, or they're passing through and they just didn't happen to notice it. But if you have it set up on a food source, I think they're knowledgeable. Somehow they know. And maybe it is infrasound, but
I have a theory. When
there's
you're
something.
done, when
Go
you're
ahead.
done, Ryan, I have a theory.
Yep.
I think that probably all the animals can hear it, but Bigfoot are more intelligent, and yes, all the other animals, their goal in life is to eat and hide from people too. Yes, but I think Bigfoot are more intelligent, and if a fox hears a buzz or a hum or something, and it's the middle of the night and he don't smell anybody or whatever, he don't care. He's gonna walk on through. But I think a Bigfoot is smarter and more sensitive to it, and with their intelligence being higher, that they avoid it.
If you take
And That's just my take on it.
All right. Bring it back to what I was saying earlier on a conversation. If you're in the food source area and there's a lot of thick bark trees, you can take a knife and cut like a door type hinge, a door type piece on that.
Yeah.
Cut a small hole, put the camera behind it and strap it to the tree, and then it's like closing the door, like closing the camera door on that game camera. And the only thing they'll see, I mean, Scott Carpenter did it, and that's when he got that squatch right behind him while he was being videoed by his game camera setting up another camera trap. And it took a picture of him, and right behind him, about 20 feet, there was a squatch standing there, leaning there, squatting around the tree, looking at him. You know, and that trick worked pretty good, and that's something I'm gonna try and everything.
Well, yeah, that'd be good to try.
I recently bought a camera. It is, I think I showed it to you. I'm not sure. It's the Panasonic WX970. It shoots in 4K. It was like $900. Actually,
Now, wait a minute. When you say 4K, you talking about the audio?
no, the video.
Oh, okay. Because I was told about a model very similar to that that's well known for its audio reception.
It does have really good audio, but no, it'll shoot in 4K video. The only thing is you can only play it back on 4K. So, like,
Oh.
I can only do 1080 until everybody kind of gets 4K. I could do 4K at my house because I have the TVs and stuff like that. But what I was going to say is, like, I totally lost my train of thought. But anyway, it's the WX970, and it can do, like, the night vision mode and stuff like that, too. But I lost my train of thought there on what I was going to tell you about it.
I'm
That's
sorry.
right.
That's probably my fault.
It was blah blah blah. I'm trying to back up, but I don't know if I back up enough to help you get it back. I had a video camera. The video camera we had that we bought when James was born had awesome night vision. Everything was black and white, or it wasn't infrared or anything. But
Oh, I know what I was going to say.
but it did. But you could video at night. It was all black and white, but it was all clear. And it finally got to the point several years ago where it wouldn't charge anymore. And I missed that darn camera because it did good night video.
Not to interrupt you, but I do remember the point. He was saying something about
Oh.
Scott Carpenter looking behind himself. Well, this camera,
Oh yeah.
when you flip out the screen, on the side of it, it has a rotatable camera, 180 degrees. It's a second camera, and you can also pan and tilt up and down. So I could, like, video. I think you've seen my videos where I'm talking to myself and still recording what's in front of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it has that. So what I do is I put it on the selfie stick. I can hold the camera up in the air, and it'll actually videotape like what's going on behind me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could try to show you. I don't know if you can see it there, but see the little picture in the corner? It'll, like, down here.
Yeah.
It'll show you, like, what's behind you. Here's the camera right here. It, like, turns. So you could turn and rotate it and everything else. I could have it to the
How
side.
cool.
You could walk by like this, and it's videotaping the side also, whatever. So as far as, like, things Scott Carpenter did, so when you hold it way up in the air like that, you're getting front and back.
Oh man, how cool.
So it's pretty cool.
Man, Ryan, you got it going on, dude.
No, it's just very expensive.
Well, I know. Well, that's what I meant.
It's just after I seen them, I just wanted to get to the point where I didn't want to be lax on any equipment. So anything I could do to get the certain things, I made it a point. You know, this year I'll set a goal. You know, if it's 2 items, I'll set a goal. You know, and that's what it is. That has night vision on it also, so I can actually, like, put that on, turn it on. It has its own infrared light, which you can see like 50 yards with. Yeah, it's pretty good for $900. I mean, it's like
That,
it's a
that's expensive, but it's damn good for
right.
900 bucks. Yeah.
They call it a prosumer. It's almost pro, but it's a consumer, so they call it a prosumer camera.
Uh,
But it
Huh.
works great. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people are with their iPhones and Galaxies, and it works. But I noticed I get way better video with that. And the only reason we did it, we spent the money on getting these things is we wanted universities to take us seriously, and that's one of the reasons. Like they teamed up with us. Like they see we're serious about what we're doing. A lot of
yeah.
guys go out there with them $8 cameras, nothing against it, but anybody can do that. You know what I mean? So they're
Yeah.
they're basically looking at it like, hey, the guy's willing to spend 1,000 here, 1,000 there, 1,000 here. Well, he's taking it seriously. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
worked out. I'm just hoping some of the samples we do get back end up
It's
good.
Yeah. Okay. I wanted
it's
to ask
all for
panel.
the adults.
Yeah, I wanted to ask the panel a question here. The ones that was camping out with us. Leah, what did you learn when you was out there camping this weekend?
I learned that all of the thank you, Dan. Uh, I learned that so many things. I have been watching videos and reading stories and whatnot for a long time, and I heard darn near everything. Not everything, but I heard knocks, whoops, chatter. Um, I heard so much that in real life that I had only heard watching videos on the computer, and to hear it for yourself and know when you I heard tree knocks, and they were just like the tree knocks I have heard on videos and stuff, but I know I heard them with my own ears, and they were right over there. I have heard that now myself, and very exciting. It was just I don't know if I learned anything extra, but I what do you call it? Confirmed
Yeah.
a lot of things I had heard about, heard in stories, heard in videos, and I heard a lot of that myself for hours and hours and hours through the night.
Look at Beth.
And uh, it was terrifying and thrilling.
But yeah, like I tell people, what you hear, what you heard, is what I hear all the time. So
Yeah,
I'm used to it.
yeah.
I'm dying to hear what Beth's got to say. All right, Beth, what do you got to say?
Well, first of all, Layla, right? She heard all kinds of things. She was up, I think, the whole weekend. Bless her heart.
Yeah.
But well, one thing I've got to say is that trip, that on the trail, that when you took me back to the creek, I just when I being able to see all the structures and all the little how intricate they were, and that how they would take the limbs and put them through the branches of another tree and shove it into the dirt or hold it down with another tree. That and then you were explaining how the difference between how natural, if a storm from a
Yeah,
storm blown tree versus be in place there. Um, so that was probably the biggest thing I learned, and of course I have so much more to learn, and I'm not good at recognizing the sounds, and maybe I need
Yeah.
to get a hearing aid, but
Well,
um,
the longer, the
go
more
ahead.
you get, the more you go out there. Like, let's say, like, use me for example. You start to, you hear the sounds, and you're like, okay, this is what they do. This is one sound. Like you heard the chattering. It sounded like somebody talking, but you couldn't quite understand what they're saying. Then you
Yep.
had chattering. Then you had the tree knocks, which was communication.
Mhm.
Then you had them walking. You heard walking. I found rocks around the back corner of a tent, so what y'all were hearing plucking was rocks. Because I found a bunch of them around there. Cause
Exactly.
yeah, cause
We we had we had talked about it had rained. We had set like three separate little rainstorms where we could hear the like big raindrops hitting the tent.
It
But then you get
really, I
out and
mean, we were,
everybody's like, "Oh, it's not rained."
and we were
So
like, man, there were like 3 good downpours that lasted like
yeah,
5 to 15 minutes or something. And we could hear the creek, we could hear the wind, and this was not the creek or the wind. It sounded like it was raining on the top of the freaking tent for 5, 10 minutes. Like a
but it wasn't
brief but
raining,
good shower. And it didn't rain at all. But me and Beth both, because we talked about it through the night. It's raining again.
and it never rained
And
a drop.
it didn't ever rain that second night, I guess.
no,
But
it
it
didn't.
sounded like rain to us. I don't think they could have thrown enough rocks for us
Because if you
to
guys re
have. What, Dan?
oh no, I was just gonna say if you guys recall that Friday night, it actually got clear because the clouds cleared up and you could see the stars. The stars
Yeah, I
came out Friday
remember.
night.
I know, but
Yeah.
This was Saturday night when we had the wind.
Oh, right, right. I remember
And
that.
and
Yeah.
because we weren't expecting rain, and there was like 3 distinct separate times that me and Beth said, "Damn, it's raining again," because the wind was whipping so bad,
Yeah, it
and so
was.
it goes off, wake up, and and we were like, "Damn, it's raining again." But it would last like
Yeah.
what, Beth? 5 to 10, 15 minutes. I mean, it was like a good short shower. And me and Beth know what rain sounds
Well,
like,
yeah.
you
Yeah,
Well,
well,
know,
that night.
yes,
and it wasn't, but it couldn't have been that damn many rocks.
Yeah.
right,
I don't
right.
know. I don't know what it
I would
was
I
unless.
would go to sleep right. I'm sorry. I was gonna
Go
say I would
ahead.
go. I'd hear it and then I'd go right back to sleep because even though it was a little bit rocky ground and I did manage to go to sleep. I would go right back to sleep. I was tired, so um, Lael didn't sleep much at all. So she heard
I
a
didn't
lot more than
sleep
I did.
any Friday night. Saturday night I slept a little, but
Yeah.
I was just attuned to every sound. And me and Beth were both convinced it had rained at least 3 times.
Yeah, but each time you go out there, uh, and you listen to them, or listen to what I described to you and what y'all were hearing, you learn more and more and more. So when you get to the
Yeah,
point,
I
so
agree.
when yeah, so when you get to when you get to a certain point, you know, like the first night we was there, we were hearing also if once you started constantly hearing that, you know, you know exactly what it is, and a lot of people don't associate with that, and but produce left on. Okay, question. All
Go
right,
ahead.
what do you want, Ryan?
Uh, well, you want to bring me some
Go
dinner?
ahead, Ryan.
You know, uh, I
Any
wanted to,
thoughts?
I wanted to ask Lael, if you weren't a believer, are you a believer now?
I
Based on some of the things you experienced, or will it take more time?
No, I was a believer to start with. Um, I had never had an experience or anything, but I have been interested in this for so many years and have read a book here and there or watched a TV special or whatever. And now we've got computers and things, and I've watched every video that posts. I've read all I've done as much research from the chair as I can do. And I know that there aren't any or very damn few in my county. There are no reported sightings, but the counties around me do have reported sightings. But
That's odd.
I
See that makes me wonder. Like, could your area be like their core range, and then when they leave off toward the other counties, that's when people see them?
I think, Ryan, that our county. Okay, you know of the Lost Colony. Have you ever heard of that?
Yep.
Okay. Well, we had the Lost Colony, and well, there was Jamestown up north and whatever. But Bath, where I live right now in Beaufort County, is the oldest town in the state, and Bath was incorporated over 300 years ago. And there were Native Americans here, and they got pushed back and pushed out. And I think that since the county was settled so early, that maybe the Sasquatch also, if they had got pushed back a little bit.
Yeah. Okay,
Right.
we got a
But
question
I
from
have another theory.
we got a question
Oh, sorry.
go
from
ahead.
live chat.
Okay.
All right, Danny, you
Yeah,
want to?
yeah. This question is from YouTube user Nincompoop. He
Oh,
says,
we know
aside,
Nincompoop.
yeah, he's a pretty cool dude. Yeah. He says, aside from smell of a woman, has anyone found any scent that attracts these things? And it's pretty good. That I'm kind of glad he kind of brought that up because I think apart from women, I think the, this what I think with you and Beth being there kind of brought some attention there, and I think I really think women bring in the attention of the Squatches because I've had experience with my daughter with me bringing her into areas before and so forth. So, but
Yeah.
I don't know. So, I mean, I figure you guys we could all share in on this one here, but I want to let Fred start off with this one. I think Fred would be a good one to answer on this one. He might know something in regards to this question.
All right,
Anything
what was the
besides
question?
women? Yeah, yeah. The question is,
Do what?
yeah, yeah. The question is, apart from women, do we know of anything that attracts a Squatch? Any other sense that might attract them?
Um, smell like candy or a banana.
Hmm.
Nothing like that, will attract them because it's an odd smell to them and their curiosity. Now, if a woman wears perfume, like good example, when I took Jennifer back there,
Yeah.
Jennifer had perfume on. Within
Uh
five minutes,
huh.
within 5 minutes of being back there, they were chattering where she could hear them.
Hmm.
And that one time we had that one girl was with us
Yeah.
that back in the early days. She had perfume on, and it was an odd smell, and they were chattering. It
Yep.
draws them in. So yeah, it's odd smells. A pleasant smell will draw them in quick. They got to go check it. Like, ooh, that smells good. We got to go see what it is, and that's what they do. From what I've learned about them. They come to like when I went back there and I set up them cinnamon rolls. them cinnamon buns were just taken out of the oven like an hour before, and I had them wrapped up in cellophane and put in a paper bag where they'd hold the heat. And
Yeah.
when I took and set them out on the limbs, within 8 or 10 minutes, there were all the juveniles was within 15 to 20 feet of me, trying to figure out what's going on. So when I went down to the bottom of that ridge, they went over and started nabbing it. They went over and smelled it, sniffed it, and they ate some of it, you know. But the sweet smell, it drawed them in for curiosity, you know, because it's like a flavor that they never had that makes your taste buds go crazy. That's what I've learned about it, you know. But that was
Yeah,
a
but
good question.
yeah, and I think just apart from the smell, period. It's funny the question got brought up. Using women because the scent of women. I think it's not even the scent of women at all. It's something to do with they know they're female, and it's just I think that draws in their curiosity. Because the other time when me and that girl, we remember we were walking up behind the field. We went down
Yeah,
that trail behind a field, and we saw something up on the part of that ridge. We
yeah,
crossed that creek. We had a rock thrown at us, and we had a whoop, all
yeah,
in the same scene.
yeah,
So there's something that brought them in. They were following us, which was awesome. So
yeah, yeah. That's
I
why.
didn't.
Well,
Yeah, because
we don't. Me and Beth, neither one wear perfume. We wear deodorant and perhaps lotion,
well,
and
but
the
we're
yeah,
not.
but
We're
and
the
not
see,
perfume people because of their. We just don't wear perfume.
right, but
But
right,
the
yeah, I think they can just tell.
well,
Well,
actually,
hell,
their sense of smell is so phenomenal that they can pick up the scent of your lotion,
well, I'm sure they can.
and that draws
I'm
them
sure
in.
they can.
But far as being a girl, yeah, the males are gonna be curious. The females are gonna be pissed off because there's a female in her, and then that's gonna make him come check it out. It's gonna piss her off.
yeah,
I've heard
Uh,
actually, as far as like even deer are. I've heard stories along with Sasquatch where um, things that'll attract them, such as like a woman's tampon, or
yep,
like
absolutely.
the blood or
That's a fact.
the vaginal
Uh,
secretion will bring them in or whatever they smell. I'm just saying that that is what's been said by numerous people.
Well, that's what.
Bigfoot,
Well, that's
I was
Bigfoot or
getting ready to bring
deer?
that up.
Yeah, and not to gross anybody out, but I know
Excuse
hunter
me.
a hunter in particular that does this, and actually it was a female hunter who told me this,
yeah,
and it brings in the bucks, and I it might be sick to some people, but it seriously works, and I can understand why.
yeah. I got a
But
female.
It
I got a
brings
female.
in the bear too.
Yeah, I got
yeah,
a
It'll
you're
bring the
right.
bear.
yeah. I got a female friend right now saving them up for me for deer season.
Yeah. Well, that's why I was on the topic. And
It's not me.
No, not
Go
you.
ahead.
no, one other thing. I was actually scrolling through my feed and I seen this come up. It says Pennsylvania warns hikers and hunters of possible danger on game lands. State Game Land 305, Bowling Springs, PA. The Pennsylvania Game Commission says hunters and hikers and others who use the state game land in southern Middleton Township and others should be on the lookout for spike strips that could puncture a tire or a foot. A hiker recently found a piece of wood with exposed screws on state game lands 305 in the Cumberland-York County line, Dillsburg, and Mount Holly Springs. Uh, Wildlife Conservation Officer Barry Leonard said the screws were pointed up from the ground on the board, and the board was hidden on a trail. He said the board appears to have been placed on a trail intentionally and with the intent to cause harm to people, animal, or equipment. And then it just goes on to say, if you have any information, yada, 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 yada. Well, I'm wondering if that's somebody trying to hide it and
Get
attempt
D
to get
and
DNA.
get DNA. Uh huh.
Correct.
Yeah,
And
Yep.
they're going
but
about it all wrong.
That is
Yeah,
way too wrong. You don't do.
yeah. I can see doing it off the beaten path, in a specific location that you might be trying to somewhat bait or gift.
Or yeah,
Yeah,
but not. That's
not
terrible.
on a trail where people
Well,
are known to walk.
a lot of states too, you have to have a permit to even do things like that. To have traps, we had to get permits from New York State, and we have to follow trapping guidelines. That's what they're making us do.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know,
Well,
that's
and,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, but Ryan,
because
it's like gun owners. People who legally own guns follow the law.
Yep.
Banning if you're banning a gun isn't going to make the criminals not have guns, and this is the same thing.
yeah, well,
If they have no more regard than that, they're not going to by law anyway.
yeah. Now, far as setting traps, like snares, uh, number two, steel jaw traps, like which we use for coyotes and whatever, like that. There's certain ways that they give you certain specs that you got to follow to do. Like when you go trapping, you got to boil your dirt, boil your traps, boil your hatchet, whatever you got to boil, and then and what I do is I boil them in tree bark, like oak tree bark, and then I boil the traps and everything in that, and dip the traps down in golf wax, melted wax, gets the human scent off. Then when you go to set your trap up, you got to put what if I'm trapping red fox, I got to use red fox urine on the bottom of my boots after I take and boil the boots, get your human scent off and everything like that. It's just specific laws that you got to follow to legal. And the way Ryan's doing it, he's got to do it by the state of New York. Their laws are similar, but they're a little bit stricter than ours. You know.
yeah, New York is ridiculous. Like, I had to write the game commission. I've got numerous letters, and I keep them all. You know what I mean? And the letters basically state that they don't agree with any type of Sasquatch type of person, hominid, animal being out there. But then when I said, okay, well then I can just basically, since you don't believe in that, and that's not proven, I can just set traps for them to catch DNA, right? And what they came back was, well, no, you still have to abide by the trapping laws. I said, yeah, but I'm not trapping anything. I got a 2-foot by 30-inch deep trap that can't trap a Sasquatch. It's in a tree. I mean, it's not going to trap animals, I'm not looking to do that. And they're like, no, you still have to do that. I said, okay, so one better. How about I just leave, sticky traps out there to collect hair? So I wanted to collect, the samples. So I use big rat traps, and they're like big, sticky, unfoldable glue traps, but it's not real thick glue. And they said anytime you want to collect a sample to have analyzed, you have to have a permit to do it. So I had to get a permit to do it just to be able to I had to pay the fee, not even a permit. I had to send in a paper and pay the $50 just to be able to take any tuft of hair, they call it, to be able to have it analyzed.
But they don't believe in Bigfoot though.
Exactly.
But in other words, they're making money
All right.
off of something. They're making money off of something that they think don't exist.
I actually talked, I'd like to say off the record, but we're live, so I've actually talked to a game warden, I cannot mention a name,
No names.
who actually had an encounter with something he said was bipedal, and he seen it running out of his peripheral vision,
Yeah.
and he stated that it was out of human proportions, and he could see the hair. And what had happened is, I'll tell you the story real quick. There was a gentleman that was hunting on a guy's property, and there was a fence line that went up the property between the two properties. One guy didn't like the other guy. Well, this one guy let this other guy, Jim, let's just call him Jim, hunt on his property. Well, the tree stand was only like 75 yards from the fence, and the deer used to come over the knoll, It was like a perfect ridge, a saddle where they came through all the time. Well, the guy shoots a deer. The deer hops the fence. He calls the guy on the other side and says, "Hey, can I retrieve my deer?" And the guy goes ballistic and says, "Da da da." Well, he calls a DEC guy, and when he does that, the state cops, DEC, all kinds of people had come out there. Well, the one DEC officer that came out there came out plain clothes, plain Jane. He didn't even have his badge on. He just happened to be in the area at the time. And he was the one that had the encounter. He had his 9mm drawn because he didn't know what type of guy he was going to be encountering that shot the deer, because the guy that called stated he was being aggressive with a shotgun and stuff like that. But the DEC officer had broke the ridge and came over the first ridge, and that guy was over the second ridge. He came over the first ridge, and that's when he seen off to his right, which was like, it was parallel to him but going away from him. And he said, "Man, I can't tell you what it was." He said, "But off the record, I actually seen him last hunting season," and he stated that to me. He was checking licenses, and he said, "Hey, I heard that you do this and do that," and I said, "Yeah," because I had to apply for them, paperwork and stuff. And he's like, "Well, I'll tell you." He's like, "Between you and I," he said, "I can't tell anybody because I ain't gonna lose my job." But then that's when he proceeded to tell me that story. He said that I seen something. It was huge. I don't know. I said, "Well, what do you mean huge?" He's like, "Well, I'm 6'2", he said, "and I know it was way taller than me." I said, "So way taller as in 8 foot?" He was like, "I'm guessing 7'5" or better," is what he said. So that was interesting to me.
It's amazing how many rangers and folks like that, game wardens, rangers, those kind of folks, have a story to tell after they retire.
Yep.
Or whatever, Yeah.
Well, the game wardens in my area, they tell me, we don't believe in Bigfoot, because I was talking to them at a roadblock, and they said, like, "You mean there's Bigfoot here?" I said, "Yeah, you know it too." I showed, and I pointed to that female game warden, and I said, I showed her tracks. I took her up in the woods and showed her the tracks. And she finally admitted it. Technically, by law, they're not allowed to admit that they know something is real.
The
Especially
same
when
game warden come up Saturday morning, that chick,
that Carolyn, whatever her name is.
whatever her name is.
Yeah, Kate or Caitlin. Yeah.
Yeah. So whenever they see us out there, I think the reason she stopped in at the camp was because y'all had North Carolina tags on your car, and she wanted to be nosy and see who it was.
Yeah.
Now, if she knows who you are and what you're doing there, she'll just ride right on by.
Well, Beth had said we're with Fred Caney, and Daniel saw her and busted his butt right on over and said, "Hey, we know
Yeah.
I'm there,
Yeah, she knew
Thank
who
you,
I was.
Daniel."
Yeah, because I was like, "Hey,
Yeah.
it's just us, Kate, the Bigfoot people."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But did y'all notice that?
Yeah,
Yeah. Hey, did y'all notice that Sunday when we was leaving that you seen that silver blazer come through there real slow with the real super tinted windows with the government tags on them? We was
no, I didn't notice that.
because we was
but I do know that she wanted.
do what?
I was gonna say she did want to know if Daniel got his tags done. So she did remember Daniel.
Yeah.
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 No, when we had just almost finished packing. I was carrying something up. Me and Jeff was carrying the cooler up and some stuff up to the Jeep. That blazer come by real slow. It was a state trooper gray blazer with an antenna, and it had real dark tinted windows, and it had government tags on it.
Yes, I did
Yeah.
notice that. And
I
y'all asked me
did.
if that was the vehicle that Kate was in the day before,
Right.
but it
Yeah,
wasn't.
I
It was in
remember
a
that.
marked vehicle.
Yeah.
But
That was
yeah, I
that was.
noticed that vehicle. I didn't notice the license plate, so.
Do you know the only time they ever show up out there is when I'm out there or I'm camping out there, and we're staying at that camp. Every time I've been there, they've come by there, real slow
Because you're a
looking.
bad boy. Because
They
you're a
Well,
bad boy.
Fred, how do you know? How do you know they don't go by there when you're not there?
because
They came by when I was up there.
yeah.
I'm
Well,
just saying, if you ain't there, how do you know if they ride by or not?
hey,
I'm picking.
I got a lot of people up there, that I know. I got a lot of hunters up there, that ride up there, like Dylan, the one on that motorcycle.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know. I was just picking.
yeah. But every time I've
Yeah.
been camping up there, he'll come by and he'll slow up and ride real slow. I've never seen him up there until this year. No, actually, last year is when I first saw him, and they always ride by slow.
Yeah.
So something tells me that it's a state vehicle. It ain't like a game warden because it'll say Virginia Game Commission, and
Yeah.
then Virginia Game and Inland Fisheries on the bottom. His tag said government issue or government use only to a point.
I don't know, but we didn't break any laws.
Nah, she
Didn't
was just
do.
checking.
I
I
I,
I do. I
I,
do think that the North Carolina tags could have had, a little something to do with it, but
she was being nosy.
yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Well, what the hell do you do when you ride the hell around in a car looking for
Well, she's not quite.
people catching
Yeah.
too many fish or, all day? I guess you get bored.
Well, she's not a game warden, and she's not a sheriff. She's right in that
Yeah.
middle there. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
she's something, but she's not a game warden, and she's not a sheriff's department. And I know daggone
Well,
well
what
she,
is
Can
huh?
she legally write you a ticket?
I mean, really, what is she? Does she? I mean, do you know?
She can. Well, she
Like
give me and
Harlan?
my brother. She give me and my brother a ticket for parking up there behind where Daniel put his tent at. We wasn't up there but 15 minutes. We come out and she done ticketed us and hauled ass. We never knew she was up there until we got looked at the paper on the windshield. She left the ticket on the windshield. $75 freaking and everything.
Maybe the neighborhood needs to get together and make a complaint.
Well, the reason they got rid of Ron Jackson, now Ron Jackson is up at Elkhorn now. He had a contract out on his head in my area, and it was a big bundle of money, so they got his ass out of there, and they put her in his place. So now
Uh,
Ron, and the second time me and Daniel camped up there at the camp spot up there next to Elkhorn, Daniel met met Ron Jackson, and the whole time he was talking to me,
Yeah.
he was eyeballing Daniel like I don't know if I trust him or not.
Lord.
Yeah,
All right,
but
let's go
once they get
ahead.
to know you, it's pretty cool, and it's a good thing they ride up through there. What was you?
Well, and they do need people to check and make sure, that everybody's doing like they ought to do.
Yeah.
Well,
So people don't tear up and mess up and, all of that.
talking about them driving up through there, the one area that we go through, it's like a snowmobile track, and they can drive it because it does have some gravel on this 3 mile old horse and buggy road. and it's gated on either
Oh.
side. But they have the keys to get in and out. But I noticed after we started doing research and contacting them in regards to this, last year I probably seen them all of twice, maybe. Now they come through like at least twice a week. So I don't know if the state has put them up to it or somebody or what, but you'll see their tracks. If I don't run into them, I've already seen them twice. If I don't run into them, you'll see the
You
tracks
see
in the
where
mud.
they burn, where they
Right.
been. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, yes. So I think that guy that we saw, because I've never, I've seen him I've seen him 2 times in the last month, and every time I'm sitting at a camp or sitting on the side of the road, he'll ride by slow. And look, you can't see who's driving because the windows are too dark.
Yeah.
But if we
Yeah,
have
all
a,
the rest, all
but
the rest of us have a law that our windows can't be too dark.
right, dark as their window, well, dark as his windows was, we would have got a ticket for it. But yet they can ride
Yep.
around like that and not see who's inside it and
Of
everything.
course. Was that mine or yours?
What? The ding?
Yeah, I think it was yours.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to get it on here. What's going on?
Yeah,
Okay.
it
While we're
was.
I was like,
Huh?
Go ahead, Beth.
well, I
Go
was gonna
ahead.
say,
Okay, we got a live.
I was gonna follow up on
Okay,
something Leo had said a little while ago about reported sightings in the counties all around us. Now, she grew up in Beaufort County. I grew up in Hyde County, which is directly east of her, next to the coast, and it is very sparsely populated. We've got, when I left, there's about 5,500 people for the whole county. It's the largest land mass county in the whole state. Um, I had talked with someone, not talking about why we haven't had any sightings when it's perfect territory for Bigfoot. And part of it, they said they felt was the good old boy network. It's like, just keep it to yourself. Don't tell anybody. Nobody's gonna believe you. Just shut up and go on. And I was
cool.
wondering if y'all thought maybe that may be part of it.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely part of it.
Yeah. Okay, we have a question from a live chat. Daniel?
I don't
Good
think.
question, Beth.
Got a question?
Daniel.
I think he got kicked off, or he's
Now,
muted.
now you told me.
No, I'm here. I'm here. I had him on mute, but no, I was just looking at the live chat. I didn't see nothing new. Let me go back and refresh it and make sure.
Okay.
I actually
Hold on.
shared a post. I was going to have Daniel try to share it from my Facebook.
Yeah, I was actually just trying to do that, and for some reason it wasn't letting me. It wasn't pulling up when I did the screen share.
Beth.
I can try to do it.
Oh, okay. Here it is. There is a question here. Or,
Okay. All right. What is it?
it says, any suggestions on tactics for my second ventures into the wild? Wild's looking for these things. Not. And he's saying he's not an overnighter. So. So.
Repeat that question because I didn't hear it.
Yeah. He says, any suggestions on tactics for his venture into the wild while looking for these things, referring to Sasquatch?
Just open your senses up, man. Listen for odd sounds.
Yeah.
Just, yeah, like I
Like,
tell people, relax. Just relax. And,
yeah, when you walk
take,
in there, uh, listen.
a lot of
Yeah,
a lot of
go
people
ahead, Dan.
overlook. Yeah, a lot of people overlook things just going on like, okay, they just go through the woods as like a general walk, and just walk and walk, and they might stop on occasions, but they're not stopping to actually take it all in enough. That's why you got to relax and like what Fred was saying, let your senses go. Just start scanning around with your eyes and your ears. I mean, a lot of things. There's certain things that will be obvious, but just like Fred said, let your senses go, and then relax. Just
Yeah,
relax. You know, and you'll start noticing it.
as
Take your time. I mean, stop and look. So yeah, go ahead, Beth.
as a newbie, I was gonna say as a newbie, I would say really pay attention to the ambient sounds of the forest, things that I have always taken for granted. To try to pick those sounds out, remember them, because like I said earlier in the show, the first night, the forest was so alive with all the sounds and that type of thing, which I didn't understand what I was hearing. The next night they weren't there, and I did notice that they were gone. So maybe that would be something they could do.
Until we went to bed, then it showed. Then they kicked in. See, they on Friday night. On Friday night, they kicked in earlier, and we heard some stuff, and we sat up pretty late, and then we went to bed, and I heard a few things further through the night. Saturday night, it was more quiet, and we all went to bed a little bit earlier. But once we all went to bed, it kicked in then.
Yeah, because they was just coming in because they had started somewhere else and worked their way through there. Because
But
because Saturday when I took Beth through there, I heard a buck blow at me. So there was a buck in there, but he was being very very uh hidden because usually
yeah,
usually when I walk through there, this time of year, they see me, and they just like lollygag, But this buck was being really, really scared for some reason. Because I mean, the blow that he let out was like, "Hey, you're not what I expected, but you scared the crap out of me."
Yeah, I remember that. Now that you bring it up, I do remember, and we actually talked about him blowing at you.
Yeah.
I've had a doe with fawns um blow at me and stomp, and it ain't a good feeling.
Why? What are you talking about?
But
Not a good feeling.
years back,
Oh, years back. Okay.
yeah, it was a doe. It was a doe. I got between a doe and two fawns. I didn't mean to,
Hmm.
but apparently the fawns had crossed the road, and she hadn't crossed the road yet, and I was walking up the road. And buddy, she snorted and stomped and stamped and let me know she won't happy. And I busted my ass to the house.
Yeah. Well, this buck, he blew, but he stayed very well hidden. I know he
Uh-huh.
was. I know he was between me and the field. I
Yeah,
know he was there. So you know, but when squatches come in, that's what they're looking for. Looking for deer.
yeah.
And I found out in that particular area that they have drivers and standers.
Oh yeah.
I've learned that
I've
long ago. And,
heard about that. Yeah.
and there's a guy, a friend of mine, no names mentioned. He's got a thermo of three of them coming in on a deer at the same time, and the deer couldn't go nowhere. There was nowhere to run. But
Oh gosh.
I cannot get him to come off that video. I wish he would. But I
Well,
mean, but all
that's
in
up to
all, but
that's up to him, and
but the bottom line is, we was out there camping, and we we was
we
out
had a
there
lot.
camping.
We had a lot of activity.
Yeah. And that's something, I try to get people, to understand, in certain areas you can um, go in and you won't hear a thing. then you got areas and times that they're everywhere. I mean, plumb everywhere. And that's the fun part about it, about doing this. And I like that. So I'm glad
You're
that
glad
y'all.
that we came.
Yeah, I'm glad because now you can tell people what you experienced, and that's what I wanted that's what I want other people, because people saying, listen, me listen to me saying, yeah, I hear these sounds and everything, and now I had other people out there, and they
Yeah,
heard it basically all night long the first night we was
two
there.
or 2 nights,
Yeah, so
and
that
yeah,
tells people, that yeah, they are here, and everything like that. But anyway, we're going to wind the show down here in about another 5 minutes, five after we do it. We're going to hit it about 10 till
All
and
right.
everything. So, okay, so basically,
But
we got any last, say what?
yeah, I got a question. I've got a
Yeah.
Okay.
question. Okay, going back to the perfume and the good smell and stuff and that kind of thing, and about the feminine past. Actually, going back to the just a female smell. Have you ever seen any difference in having a say a preteen female versus a more fertile aged female versus an older female? Like what I can't remember. Hell, I can't
yeah.
say it.
Hey, I
Per,
could actually
uh,
speak on that a little bit.
oh, good.
Just
Okay, good.
A
just
little
just from
bit, yeah.
just some from off of experience. Like I mentioned earlier, with Brianna, this is probably about maybe 2 years ago, 3 years, yeah, almost 3 years ago, actually, to be honest with you. There's one specific area in my main research area. There's one area I was going into for a while to observe changes and check out, because I have found structures and actually, received activity. On the most part, I wasn't really getting much vocal activity in that one specific location. But the one time I brought Brianna and my daughter Brianna with me, as soon as we got past the creek and walked further into the woods, I mean, it's like walking into a zoo of like primates. They got all crazy. I mean, you could hear them. They were just over on the other side of the ridge next to us. Brianna was like, "Daddy, do you hear that?" I said, "I'm hearing it, Brianna. I'm hearing it. I know. They know you're here too. That's why they're acting up. Because I mean, they're like hollering. I mean, there's no one out there. There was no one in that wood. That was awesome stuff that took place back there. I was like, and
But
I got to thinking. I said, I'm gonna have to start taking her with me more often. you
but
know?
not to ask too personal of a question, but was she still pre-menstrual?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
she started. Well, let's see. This is about 3 years ago. She was about 12. Yeah, just about 11 and a half to 12 at that time. So she was on. She started at 10. So I mean,
Oh, okay. So she was
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah, those
Let's
hormones
see.
were raging.
Well, I am past that.
right.
Um, so I am. All that's done with me. Um, so I may smell like a girl, but I don't have any of that going on.
Yeah.
Right.
But we have also talked about that. Um, if a woman is on her in her time of the month, that's when you can't get pregnant. You can get pregnant 2 weeks earlier, so it may blood smell may attract a bear or a cougar or a bobcat or maybe even a Sasquatch. But if they were interested in women as far as breeding purposes, if you're in that time, you're not fertile.
Okay,
So,
and on that note,
and
folks.
that's the last note for Fred.
Hey, Fred, can I make one more quick announcement, real quick?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
All
Go
right.
ahead.
Wednesday, May 10th. everybody tune in. I'm going to do this through my YouTube channel, ECBRO98. We have the Carolina Cryptid Crew. They will be joining us on a live podcast discussion Wednesday, May 11th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So
Oh,
I will be posting the link here soon, and make sure you guys share it everywhere because that's going to be a great discussion. Like I said, the Carolina Cryptid Crew, and they are involved with paranormal as well.
is it
Um,
north and south or one or the other?
yeah, they're actually, I believe, both. Well, actually, South Carolina to be exact. I know
Okay.
of South Carolina. Um, okay, and
That's
then
right.
the next camp out expedition, we have a weekend coming up, the weekend of Memorial Day weekend. So if anyone wants to attend that, feel free to contact me or Fred. Uh, and then the ECBRO annual expedition here in Virginia, June 4th through the 11th. So just wanted to throw that out there. And one more reminder for May 17th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will have anthropologist Kenneth Jalusky. So there we have it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to make that at the last minute announcement. 'Cause we got that coming up. So
That's cool. I did see
Okay.
that. I seen your
Yeah.
post today.
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
know. I didn't know. Is that just for all members, or it said there's like a $150 fee? I didn't understand how
well,
that.
well, the way I worded that, if you were invited, which you are invited, because I invited you before, you don't have to worry
Right.
about that.
Okay. No, okay. No,
There's a reason behind that too, because and this is why some people do this, and this is why I do it,
uh
because if a hoaxer wants to come along, they're not gonna. I mean, unless they're desperately willing to pay $150 to pull a hoax. I'm trying to prevent hoaxing, so that's why I charge that. So
right.
yeah. So
Okay,
look,
okay, folks. That's the end of the wrap there. This is Fred Caney, Valley Bigfootin', and Inside Van Squatch, and Danny Wiley, the ECBRO. And we will talk to y'all. And y'all
yeah.
have a nice